My name is Zoe Slazak, and I'm an Introduction to Environmental Science. For Project 1, I chose the invasive Chinus terebinthifolia, more commonly known as the Brazilian pepper tree, as my invasive species. It is a 30-foot red berry tree with short trunk that can live about 30 years. According to the University of Florida and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Brazilian pepper tree originates from its native environment of Brazil, Argentina, and Paraguay. It was initially brought over in the 1840s for its red berries and green foliage for ornamental use by humans, but is now widely spread by birds when they eat the seeds and then distribute them across Florida during migration. They quickly plant, spread, and reproduce through their fallen seeds. The species is restricted to warmer regions because they are sensitive to cold temperatures. Brazilian pepper can be found as far north as Levy and St. Johns counties and as far west as Santa Rosa County. Brazilian pepper is found anywhere with good sun exposure and where their seeds have fallen. It invades aquatic and terrestrial habitats, which gives native communities lower quality living conditions. It is invasive because it not only reproduces at a rapid rate, but also produces thick leaves and branches that shades out surrounding plants. Plants cannot get their nutritional sunlight because the Brazilian pepper tree takes over the areas it's in. It is also a destitute habitat for native species. The University of Florida listed on their website a few ways the species is managed. It is a very difficult plant to manage due to its poison ivy-like rash reaction and its fast growth. The only way to take it out of the ground is by its root because it can resprout and reproduce if not done properly, which also adds another struggle when trying to manage it. There are no biological control agents that are currently being used against it. Sawfly and thrip insects are potential control agents, but have not been approved for use yet. Sawflies work through causing defoliation while thrips feed on new shoots. So I have this app called I've Got One that shows invasive species and the regions they're in and the closest areas that you could go to find them. After I looked on the app, I found that there were some at the Boyd Hill Nature Preserve, so I took a drive down and I walked in, and at first there was a lady sitting at the desk, so I asked her if she knew, and she actually ended up calling an expert on the invasive species for the nature reserve over, and she told me that they had done actually a good job of getting rid of the Brazilian pepper tree on their nature preserve, and she actually called over another ranger who agreed with her and said that we weren't going to find any on the nature preserve, but we might be able to find them down the street.
Okay.
I know for sure if you drive along Country Club, like all on the left side of the road is invasive species, and we just like battle that fence line. There's that.
So then I had to leave, and I took a trip down the street, and I found a lone tree, and I thought that's all that I would find, but then I went several feet down after examining the first tree.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, we found them.
And I found this whole cluster of Brazilian pepper trees that was just completely covering the one side of the street. Like you could see on the side where the nature preserve was with the gate, and it was clean cut and managed. And then if you looked on the other side where I was with the Brazilian pepper trees, it was unmanaged. There was other invasive species surrounding the Brazilian pepper tree, but the Brazilian pepper tree was definitely overtaking with its dense branches and leaves. You can see in the video that underneath the Brazilian pepper tree that everything else is dead. Like it totally took over all the sunlight and the nutrients. After speaking with a Boyd Hill Nature Reserve ranger in St. Petersburg, Florida, I have come to the conclusion that more should be done to manage this species. I believe this because it is known to be the most aggressive and widespread invasive exotic pest plant. In the state of Florida, it spreads over 700,000 acres of land, and no one has been fast enough to stop it. I took the trip to Boyd Hill Nature Reserve and spoke to the rangers about the different kinds of ways they manage their invasive species. They told me that they had almost completely gotten rid of it on the nature reserve, but they knew of areas just on the street that were still highly infested with the species. The way they got rid of the few Brazilian pepper trees on their nature preserve was simply uprooting them with protective wear and cleaning up surrounding seeds to avoid reproduction. They said this stopped most of the problem before it became a major infestation. While this worked for their small personal area, it did not, however, contribute to stopping its statewide spread. I think that nature preserves like them should focus on more than just what's in their preserves gates, because when I took a trip just down the street to where they had told me I could find more, I found giant areas of the species. This is a problem because it could easily spread back to the preserves, so they should definitely care. I also think that the fact that no biological control agent has been found means that not enough people are working on a solution. Hopefully, more people can be hired to try and figure out a way to stop this species from invading Florida. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope you learned a little something about Brazilian pepper trees.